Fear is the silent thief of dreams. It whispers to you at night, telling you to stay where you are, to avoid risk, to avoid discomfort. Successful people understand this truth. Fear will always exist, but it will never be the compass they follow. You see, most people let fear become their decision maker. They decline opportunities because they fear rejection. They avoid conversations because they fear judgment. They hold back from creating because they fear failure. But the moment you give fear this authority, you have handed over your life's steering wheel to something that wants only to keep you small. A Shaolin teaching says, the obstacle is not the mountain, it is your hesitation to climb. Fear convinces you that you are not ready, not capable, not deserving. But successful people move forward while they are afraid. They understand that courage is not the absence of fear, it is the mastery of it. If you wait for fear to disappear before taking action, you will wait forever. Fear does not vanish. It transforms when you confront it. The very thing you are afraid of doing is the thing that holds the key to your growth. The opportunity you turn away from today will be the regret you carry tomorrow. And so, successful people make decisions based on vision, not on fear. They imagine the person they want to become and ask themselves, what would that version of me do? And then they act in alignment with that vision, even if their hands are shaking, even if their heart is pounding. Fear loses its grip when you stop feeding it with avoidance. Each step into the unknown weakens its control, and soon the place you once feared becomes the place you call home. Do not wait for courage to arrive. Courage is not a visitor, it is a muscle, and like any muscle, it grows only when you use it. Every time you act despite fear, you are building an unshakable foundation for your future. Fear is the gatekeeper to success. Those who bow to it remain outside. Those who walk through it discover that the treasure they sought was waiting for them all along. So, if you wish to walk the path of the successful, never let fear be the deciding voice in your life. Let your purpose speak louder. Let your dreams pull stronger. And when fear tries to guide you, thank it for its concern, but keep walking anyway. We all have a limited amount of time. It's the most valuable currency we possess, and yet, so often we spend it recklessly. We get caught in cycles of worry, regret, and resentment over things that have already happened or are completely out of our control. Successful people, the ones who achieve true mastery, understand a fundamental truth: the past is a locked door. You cannot go back and change what you said, what you did, or what was done to you. The energy you expend on reliving those moments is energy stolen from your present and your future. Consider this: you're stuck in traffic. You can honk, yell, and fume, but will it make the cars in front of you move any faster? No. It will only raise your blood pressure and ruin your mood. You're wasting precious mental and emotional energy on a situation you are powerless to change. The successful person in that same situation might use that time to listen to an audiobook, practice mindful breathing, or simply observe their surroundings. They understand that their focus is their power. They direct their energy toward what they can influence: their reaction, their internal state, and their next action. This principle extends to all aspects of life. You can't control the weather, the economy, or the opinions of others. You can't change the fact that a business deal fell through or that a relationship ended. What you can control is your response. You can learn from the experience, adapt your strategy, and move forward with renewed wisdom. Successful people don't dwell on what if, they ask, what now? They are present-oriented, future-focused. They understand that their mental space is a sacred garden. They don't allow the weeds of past regrets or future anxieties to choke the life out of it. Instead, they cultivate seeds of growth, learning, and action. It's a practice of radical acceptance. It's about acknowledging the reality of a situation, accepting its unchangeable nature, and then consciously choosing to pivot. It's a shift from a reactive state to a proactive one. This doesn't mean they don't feel disappointment or pain, they do, but they process those emotions without letting them become a prison. They feel the emotion, they learn the lesson, and they release the hold it has on them. They understand that clinging to the past is like trying to drive forward while staring in the rearview mirror. It's inefficient, it's dangerous, and it will prevent you from ever reaching your destination. So, let go of what you cannot change and invest your energy in building the future you desire. That is the way of true progress. A mind left to its own devices is a dangerous thing. It will drift, it will worry, it will invent problems that don't exist, it will wander into the territory of doubt, fear, and negativity. The mind is a tool, a powerful instrument, and like any tool, it must be used for a purpose. Successful people understand this. They are masters of their own minds, not slaves to them. They know that an idle mind is an invitation for chaos. Think about it. When you're not actively engaged in something productive or meaningful, where does your mind go? It might revisit an embarrassing moment from a decade ago. It might spiral into a worst-case scenario about an upcoming event. It might start to criticize your own abilities and achievements. These are the natural inclinations of an undirected mind. It's a form of mental noise, and it robs you of your peace and your potential. Successful individuals, on the other hand, are constantly engaging their minds. They are always learning, always growing. They read books, listen to podcasts, and seek out new skills. They don't just passively consume information, they actively engage with it. They ask questions, they reflect, and they apply what they've learned. Their minds are not idle. They are in a state of continuous cultivation. This isn't about being busy for the sake of being busy. It's about being intentional with your mental energy. It's about giving your mind a task, a focus. When you're not working, you can be meditating, practicing a hobby, or engaging in a deep conversation. The goal is to avoid the default state of aimless wandering. It's about directing your mental energy towards something that is either productive, fulfilling, or restorative. An idle mind is also vulnerable to external influences. It's more susceptible to gossip, to distractions, and to the endless scroll of social media. When your mind is focused on a clear goal, you are less likely to be swayed by the noise of the world. You have a purpose, a direction, and a filter for what you let in. Successful people have this mental discipline. They protect their focus as if it were a precious resource because they know that it is. So, don't let your mind become an empty room for negative thoughts to gather. Fill it with purpose. Fill it with learning. Fill it with creativity. Give your mind a job, and it will serve you. Leave it to its own devices, and it will sabotage you. That is the difference between a mind that leads to success and one that leads to stagnation. Time is the most precious resource you have. It is more valuable than gold, more precious than diamonds, because once spent, it can never be recovered. Successful people understand this truth deeply, which is why they refuse to waste their energy on what is beyond their control. The average person spends hours every week worrying about the weather, complaining about traffic, or arguing about events they cannot change. This is like pouring water into a bucket with a hole it will never fill. The wise understand where attention goes, energy flows. If you give your energy to things you cannot influence, you drain the power you could use to change what is in your hands. Shaolin wisdom teaches, you cannot calm the storm by shouting at the clouds. You calm the storm by calming yourself. This is the principle successful people live by. They focus only on the circle of their control. Instead of dwelling on problems, they seek solutions. Instead of complaining about what has happened, they ask, what can I do with what I have? Instead of getting lost in the chaos of the world, they anchor themselves in their own discipline, habits, and growth. The truth is, energy is finite. Every moment spent worrying about the uncontrollable is a moment stolen from building something meaningful. Life will always contain uncertainty, setbacks, and forces beyond your reach, but your reaction is yours to own. Successful people do not allow external events to dictate their internal state. They remain calm in chaos, steady in storms, and focused in noise. They use adversity as training, not as an excuse. When you learn to stop wasting time on what you cannot control, you gain more than peace. You gain power. The power to channel your focus into the small, consistent actions that lead to great results. The power to make progress when others are paralyzed. The power to keep moving forward, even when the world feels against you. And so, the successful choose their battles wisely. They do not wrestle with the wind, they build their sails. They do not argue with the tide, they learn to ride it. If you wish to walk in their footsteps, remember this: life will not give you control over everything, but it will give you control over yourself. Master that, and you have already mastered the art of success. In our modern world, we are often told we can have it all, do it all, be it all. We are encouraged to be generalists, to dabble in many things, to have a broad range of knowledge. While a foundational understanding is important, successful people, the truly masterful ones, understand the power of specialization. They know that attempting to be a master of everything is a recipe for being a master of nothing. The path to true mastery requires immense focus, dedication, and sacrifice. It means choosing one or a very small number of areas and pouring your heart, soul, and time into them. When you spread your energy too thin across 10 different pursuits, you give each one a fraction of your potential. You might become good at all of them, but you will never become great at any of them. The world doesn't reward mediocrity, it celebrates excellence. Think of a surgeon. Would you want a surgeon who is also a decent lawyer, a pretty good musician, and a hobbyist painter? Or would you want a surgeon who has spent their entire life dedicated to mastering their craft, who has performed thousands of operations, and whose focus is razor sharp on the task at hand? The answer is obvious. The surgeon who has specialized is the one you trust with your life. Successful people understand this principle. They identify their core strengths, their passions, and their unique talents, and then they double down on them. They don't get distracted by the shiny new opportunities that appear on the horizon. They stay on their chosen path, digging deeper and deeper, not wider and wider. This deep dive allows them to see connections others miss, to innovate in ways others can't, and to become an undeniable authority in their field. This isn't about ignoring other aspects of life. It's about being intentional with your professional or creative focus. It's about recognizing that you have a finite amount of time and energy, and that to achieve greatness, you must concentrate that energy. The generalist is a jack of all trades, but the specialist is the king of one. And in a world of endless information and competition, it's the king who wins. So, resist the urge to chase every new trend or opportunity. Find your one thing. Find the area where you can truly make a difference, where your unique gifts can shine, and then commit to it with unwavering dedication. The greatest achievements are not the result of scattered efforts, but of concentrated, relentless focus on a single compelling purpose. That is the path to true mastery. Your environment is like the soil in which you plant your dreams. If the soil is rich, your vision grows strong. If the soil is poisoned, even the strongest seed will wither. Successful people understand this principle deeply, which is why they refuse to keep company with negative, toxic, or energy-draining individuals. You see, energy is contagious. Sit with someone who constantly complains, and you will soon find yourself speaking their language. Spend time with someone who doubts every idea, and you will start questioning your own dreams. Stay around those who gossip, and you will find your mind filled with distractions that lead nowhere. Shaolin wisdom says, if you walk with thieves, do not be surprised when you are accused of stealing. The company you keep shapes not only your habits, but also your mindset, and your mindset is the root of your destiny. Successful people are deliberate in choosing their circle. They look for those who uplift, not those who pull down. They value people who challenge them to grow, not those who convince them to stay comfortable. They seek environments where conversations are about ideas, not about people. Now, this does not mean they isolate themselves from the world. It means they guard their inner space as carefully as a temple guards its sacred artifacts. They know that constant exposure to negativity is like inhaling smoke. It clouds the mind and suffocates the spirit. If you wish to protect your path, you must first protect your energy. That means setting boundaries. That means saying no when your peace is at risk. That means walking away from people who thrive on chaos, even if they are familiar faces. Successful people also understand the power of silence. They do not respond to every provocation, nor do they try to fix every negative person. They know that energy flows where attention goes, and they choose to invest theirs in building rather than battling. When you begin removing negative influences from your life, you create space for something better to grow. Suddenly, there is room for inspiration, for clarity, for genuine connections. Your mind becomes lighter, your steps surer, your vision sharper. Surround yourself with those who believe in the possibility of your dreams, with those who inspire you to become the best version of yourself, with those who are not threatened by your success, but celebrate it as if it were their own, because in the end, you will rise or fall to the level of the company you keep. And successful people have learned this truth. The path to greatness is too demanding to be walked in the shadow of negativity. So they walk with light, they walk with strength, and sometimes they walk alone until they find those who are worthy to walk beside them. The moment you think you know everything is the moment you begin to fall behind. Life is always moving, always shifting, always evolving, and successful people know that if they wish to remain ahead, they must remain students forever. Learning is not something they leave behind after school. It is a way of life. They read, they listen, they observe, they seek wisdom in books, in experiences, in conversations. They understand that the world is a vast library and every day is a chance to turn a new page. Shaolin philosophy teaches, a full cup cannot receive more tea. This means that to grow you must remain humble enough to admit there is more to learn. The wise never let pride become the lid on their potential. For many the trap is comfort. They master one skill, achieve one goal, and believe they can now relax forever. But the world changes, and yesterday's knowledge becomes tomorrow's outdated method. Successful people avoid this trap by staying curious. They explore new ideas, adapt to new tools, and embrace new challenges. They also understand that learning is not only intellectual, it is personal. They study themselves, they observe their own habits, their own reactions, their own patterns. They seek to master not only their craft, but their character. And here is a secret. Successful people do not learn only from success. They learn more from failure. They do not see mistakes as defeats but as lessons. They ask, what did this teach me? How can I use this to become stronger? In this way, every setback becomes an investment in future wisdom. If you wish to walk their path, feed your mind daily. Read not just for entertainment, but for transformation. Listen not just to respond, but to understand. And when you meet someone wiser, do not let envy silence your curiosity. Ask questions and absorb the answers like rain into thirsty soil. In the Shaolin temple, even the masters remain students, because mastery is not a destination, it is a state of constant refinement. And in life, the moment you stop growing is the moment you start declining. So, never stop learning, because the world will keep moving, whether you keep up or not. The difference is whether you are pulled forward by curiosity or left behind by arrogance. We are often living in a state of not here. Our minds are either replaying the past, a movie of regrets and what-ifs, or they are projecting into the future, a screenplay of anxieties and hopes. We are so busy dwelling on what was and what might be that we completely miss what is. Successful people, Those who achieve a state of flow and deep concentration have mastered the art of being fully present. They know that the present moment is the only moment that truly exists, and it is the only place where action can be taken. Think of a musician playing an instrument. If their mind is on a mistake they made in the previous measure, or worrying about a difficult part coming up, they will stumble. Their performance will be disjointed and lacking in soul. But when they are fully immersed in the sound, in the feel of the instrument, in the rhythm of the moment, they create something magical. This is the state of presence. Successful people apply this same focus to every task they undertake. When they are in a meeting, they are not checking their phone or thinking about their next appointment. They are listening intently, absorbing every word and contributing with full attention. When they are with their family, they are not distracted by work emails or a business problem. They are fully engaged, giving their loved ones their undivided presence. This is not just a personal quality, it is a profound professional advantage. Being present allows you to see things as they are, not as your past conditioning or future fears dictate. It enables you to react to situations with clarity and calm rather than with a knee-jerk emotional response. It allows you to find creative solutions because you are truly listening and observing. It's the difference between hearing and understanding, between seeing and perceiving. This mastery of the present moment is a practice. It requires mindfulness and discipline. It means catching your mind when it wanders and gently bringing it back to the task at hand. It means putting away distractions and giving your full self to whatever you are doing, whether it's a monumental business decision or simply washing the dishes. The present moment is where all power resides. It is the only place where you can make a choice, take an action, or create something new. The past is a memory. The future is an imagination. Only the present is real. By anchoring yourself in the now, you unlock a level of focus, creativity, and effectiveness that is simply not available to those who are perpetually lost in time. The greatest victories are won in the present, one moment at a time. Everyone is strong when life is easy, but the true measure of a person is not found in comfort. It is found in the storm. Successful people are not those who never face challenges. They are those who face challenges and keep going anyway. Quitting is tempting when the weight feels too heavy, but successful people understand that difficulty is not a sign to stop. It is a sign that you are on the right path. Shaolin wisdom teaches, the road uphill is the one that leads to the temple. The struggle means you are rising. They know that every great achievement was once a point of frustration, confusion, or exhaustion. The author who finished a best-selling book once stared at a blank page. The athlete who broke records once collapsed in training. The entrepreneur who built an empire once faced empty bank accounts. What separates them from those who gave up is not talent. It is persistence. It is the decision to keep moving, even when the results are invisible. It is the belief that the effort will be worth it, even if the reward is still far away. When the path becomes difficult, most people look for an easier one, but the successful adjust their grip, steady their breath, and keep climbing. They understand that quitting is permanent, but discomfort is temporary. And here's the truth. Every difficulty carries a lesson. Every obstacle builds a muscle. Every delay strengthens patience. When you see challenges in this way, they stop feeling like punishment and start feeling like preparation. If you want to succeed, you must accept that progress is not always visible and growth is not always comfortable. Some days, you will feel like you are walking in darkness, but keep walking, because the only way out of the dark is through it. Quitting guarantees failure. Persistence keeps the door open to success, and the longer you hold that door open, the greater the chance that opportunity will walk through it. Successful people are not extraordinary because life is easier for them. They are extraordinary because they refuse to stop when life is hard. The ego is a tricky thing. It is the voice that tells us we are always right, that we know best, and that we are superior to others. It is the source of pride. And while a healthy sense of self-worth is necessary, an unchecked ego is a poison that will stifle growth and lead to inevitable downfall. Successful people, the ones who achieve and sustain greatness, have learned to tame their egos. They understand that their progress is not defined by their past successes, but by their capacity to learn, adapt, and admit when they are wrong. An ego-driven person cannot receive constructive criticism. They see feedback as a personal attack, not as an opportunity for improvement. They will defend their flawed ideas with a stubborn pride, even when presented with compelling evidence to the contrary. This insulates them from reality and prevents them from seeing their own blind spots. In a rapidly changing world, this is a fatal flaw. The world moves forward, but the ego-driven person remains stuck in their own self-aggrandizing narrative. Successful people, in contrast, are humble, not in a performative way, but in a genuine sense of intellectual curiosity and open-mindedness. They actively seek out feedback, even when it is uncomfortable to hear. They surround themselves with people who will challenge their assumptions, not just agree with them. They understand that their greatest asset is not their current knowledge, but their ability to learn and evolve. The ego also drives the need for external validation. It makes us chase fame, status, and recognition for their own sake. This pursuit is a hollow one. True success, the kind that brings lasting fulfillment, is a result of purposeful work, not the applause that follows it. The ego-less person is driven by their mission, by the desire to create something of value, not by the need to be seen as valuable. Furthermore, the ego prevents us from serving others. It places our own needs and desires above all else. But the most impactful leaders and innovators are those who serve a greater cause. They put their community, their team, or their mission before themselves. This is a fundamental shift from what can I get to what can I give. The ego-driven person builds a monument to themselves. The purpose-driven person builds a legacy for others. So, watch your ego. Be vigilant. When you feel the need to be right, to be heard, or to be praised, recognize that voice for what it is. Learn to quiet it. Instead, listen. Listen to others, listen to the data, and listen to the quiet voice of your own intuition. True strength is not in being unshakable, it is in being willing to bend, to learn, and to grow. That is the true path to enduring success.